Hey guys, hope you all are staying warm. I hope you've had a chance to get out and enjoy some of this winter weather. I know here in Arkansas we don't get a whole lot of that, mostly ice. But this is some pretty great snowfall that's been going on the last couple days. And with all of this, it's kind of brought a few thoughts to mind. I wanted to share those with you today and give you a couple of just announcements, reminders of some things that are going on. As I look outside and I see all of this snow coming in, it seems it just keeps going and going and going and getting deeper and deeper. And you sometimes just kind of wonder where did all this come from? I mean, where's all this snow coming from? And I know we understand like the whole science and weather part of it, but beyond all of that, just understanding that God is in control and of the weather and so forth, just kind of brought me to this passage. Just reminded me of this passage in Job, and it's in Job chapter 38. It says, it's true. It's verse 22. It says, "Have you entered the treasuries of the snow, or have you seen the treasuries of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the time of battle and war?" Um, you know, I kind of, I think about this picture in my mind that God has like this huge, um, like giant tub of snow up in heaven, and like he just kind of dumps it out as he wills it to do. And it's kind of an odd picture, but to some extent, I guess there's kind of some truth in that. If you look at this story with Job, he comes off. If you're familiar with the story of Job, he's going through this really hard time because God has allowed this to happen, really in an effort to for Job to prove that he loves God, not because God gave him a bunch of stuff and has been good to him and he's got a good family and a lot of riches and that kind of thing, but really just loving God and understanding that he's a God of justice and truth and righteousness, regardless of what's going on in your life. Kind of showing that Joe's not just like a fair weather fan or whatever you want to call it. He's not just a believer in God in the good times. And but on the heels of all this, he's gone through these conversations with his friends, and they're trying to figure out what's happening, why it's happening, trying to blame Job for something he's done wrong. And Job just still maintains his innocence. I haven't done anything wrong. I don't deserve this. And but it's been really hard on him, right? And so he really starts going into this kind of emotional place where he wants to start questioning God. How could you do this? Are you really a just God? Are you really who you say you are? And he really just kind of starts laying it on pretty thick towards God, and kind of in this moment of frustration. He's really kind of upset and angry, and doing that, kind of expressing that all towards God. And the end of Job. Job ends his conversation with God saying, "Hey, come down here and talk to me yourself. Explain this to me. Help me understand what's going on." And so in the end of Job, that's what happens. God comes down to Job in the form of a whirlwind or like a tornado or storm or something like that, something we're familiar with in these last few days, and speaks to Job. And that's where this passage comes from. He says, "Look, do you even understand who you're talking to? I control the weather itself. I control lightning and thunder, and I control how much snow or hail or anything like that comes upon this earth. Who do you think you are to question me? You can't even fathom who I am." And he really kind of comes back at Job with, how, who do you think you are to question me? And not in this kind of awful way that we would think of, but he's just being truthful. Like, look, I'm God, and you don't understand what's going on in this full picture, but you're here questioning me. And Job comes back around after this conversation and understands. And you're right, God. I don't understand you, and I never really will, until one day when I'm at home with you in heaven, then I'll have a better understanding of that. But I mean, we'll never truly understand God. I mean, the awesomeness that He has is really unfathomable for us. And I want to share Psalm 145, and I'll encourage you to with this before I read this. Brother Rich is kind of going to dig more into this in his sermon tonight, so I encourage you to take a listen to that. I know you guys don't always log into the adult service and listen, but I encourage you to do that tonight. Great message that Brother Rich has presented out of Psalm 145. But verse 3 says, "Great is the Lord and greatly to be praised, and His greatness is unfathomable." Unfathomable. So that tells us that, I mean, we really can't understand how awesome God is. And that's really what God was telling Job. It's like, you don't even know how awesome I am. And the cool thing about that, though, is understanding too that how, even though God is so amazing and so much bigger than we are, so much greater than we are, He created us in His image, and He loves us. He loves us enough that He came down and humbled Himself to send His Son to die for us, so we could be with Him for eternity if we believed on Him. So even though we'll never understand how awesome God is, He proves that awesomeness and that love that He shows towards us through His Son. So I encourage you to go back and kind of check out the book of Job. I know it's long, but maybe take your time kind of digging through it. Some of the language in there is a little bit tough to understand. Look at some different translations. You can even find videos that kind of help explain it. But I think understanding that picture of what happened with Job can really help us to understand our situation. I think sometimes we think we got God figured out. Like, we know why He does what He does, and we kind of got the system figured out. We need to show up on church at church at a certain time or a certain day of the week, and we need to check these boxes, and that's gonna please God and help us to be in His good graces, or whatever you want to call it. But I just really don't think sometimes that we really truly, we can't really understand how awesome God is. But the more we try to understand that, the closer we get to Him, the better relationship that we can have with Him. So I pray that you guys take a chance to do that. Go outside, enjoy this creation, and just think about how awesome God is, that He's in control over everything that's going on. And maybe you have that little picture in your head too, if He's just like sprinkling snow on the world. And to me, I just think that's an awesome picture, that He's in that much of control of what's going on. So anyway, check that out. And then, so before next week or this, we're not going to have services tonight because of the weather. But next Wednesday, we'll pick back up, starting our new series on the quasi-Christian. And we're going to start in John chapter 8. So look through John chapter 8, and we'll dig into that a little bit more next Wednesday. And then for Sunday school, our breakout sessions for junior high start this Sunday. That'll be for a 4-week period. And then we'll have spring break. And then when we come back, we'll have another 4-week period of the senior high breakout, of kind of digging into the same things, just digging into some things that we deal with in our culture on a daily basis, just helping us to understand how we should view things through the lens of Scripture and how God would have us to look at things. So be praying about that. There's some other adults and leaders and teachers that have kind of stepped in and really took some time to study and learn and to share that knowledge and experience with you guys. So please be in prayer for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come on out, invite your friends, and we'll have us a good time. So until then, stay safe, have fun, and hopefully I'll see you guys in person very soon. Love you guys. See you later.